All right, it's Adam here. We've got another unscripted episode. This time we're going to talk with Bart Lovins. Now, he's the director at the Hardin County Schools Performing Arts Center.
You got all of it, yeah.
Oh, yes, got the name. All right, but...
And I don't do anything unscripted.
That's true. You're more on the script.
My life has been scripted from the time I was 7 years old.
Okay. So, and that's kind of the cool thing about this segment is we get to kind of peek behind the curtain a little bit. A lot of people know Bart as the director.
The little guy in front of the red curtain.
Sure. And you bring students in where we feature on the PAC Spotlight. But, Bart's a person, too. And
well, I don't know about that.
He's an interesting person.
I really don't know about that.
But I thought this would be a good opportunity to maybe the viewers can get to know Bart better and kind of what goes on, kind of like in the personal world of Bart. What maybe they don't want to know that, but a lot goes into plays and shows, and there's a lot of preparation. We don't get a lot of time to talk about that kind of stuff, so I'm going to kind of leave it open to you.
Oh boy. Okay.
I guess let me start by asking. This is a good starting place. Are you originally from Hardin County?
I'm not. I was born in Decatur, Illinois, where my dad's family is from. Mattoon, Windsor, that area. I have no recollection of that time. Very early, we moved to Kentucky, where my mom's family was. And Rhineyville is what I consider my hometown. We moved there when I was in second grade, and that's what I think of when I think of where I'm from, is Rhineyville.
Sure. What kind of got you interested in the performing arts? You said young age. So.
Yeah, well, there's those moments, I think, in our lives where, what I call the seminal moments, where things go, that's it. And it sets you down a certain path or another. And for me, it was Sesame Street.
Okay.
I was fascinated by it as a child, got into puppets. Started creating voices and characters around puppets, and then that led to creating skits and plays based on them, and that all led into directing. And at a certain point in my life, I let go of the puppets, but kept all of the crazy, silly voices.
Okay.
And I did kind of folded into performing arts.
The puppets. I mean, I think a lot of people can kind of relate, especially with the Sesame Street, as being a pivotal moment for a lot of children. They're learning new things, and then you're developing all these characters. Mm-hmm. So where did it go from there?
Well, it's funny. Yeah, so many things in life are cyclic.
Sure,
you come back around to things. Putting the puppets aside, doing a lot of whatever I could do performing arts-wise in Hardin County as a youth. And there wasn't a lot at that time. There was, your choir at church, chorus at school, and then youth theater of Hardin County, which is where I really kind of sharpened my teeth on performing over the summers. And that was really about it. So when I graduated high school from North Hardin, went to Western, got a degree in performing arts there, then the necessity was to leave the state because there really wasn't anything to pursue here in that field. And as I did a lot of children's theater, a lot of touring, a lot of dinner theater, and as fate would have it, I actually ended up working. I did a 4-year stint with Sesame Street Live, their national touring show, as Oscar the Grouch. So it kind of came all the way back around in some strange way.
Oh, that is great. I don't know that I can really see you as Oscar the Grouch, but
some of my staff might, yeah.
So, talk a little bit, the necessity of theater. We've seen a lot, especially I would say in more recent years, this kind of pull away from, especially in the education world, away from like the arts. But the arts, I think, are important. So, I mean, you saw the lack of that in Hardin County. What kind of steps did you do to maybe help bolster that? Because I know you came back.
Well, let me just say, I think that's an old narrative.
Okay.
And I hear that a lot. The arts are underfunded in the school system. I can't speak to other school systems. I can only speak about the one that I'm involved in.
Hmm.
And I can say uncategorically how well the arts are supported by the school board with Hardin County Schools. I
Yeah.
think that narrative dates back to a time when I was young, and really changed in the 90s with the Kentucky Education Reform Act, which was CARA by other names, was a Kentucky movement to include the arts as traditional educational components along the same lines as reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now, CARA has fallen to the wayside and been replaced by other things,
Sure.
but we are still seeing the ripples from that from the 90s. Our facility itself was built in reaction to the Kentucky Education Reform Act. Without that, there would not be a performing arts center for Hardin County Schools. Without that, there wouldn't have been the renovations that happened with the Elizabethtown Performing Arts Center. And it was really that movement that made these facilities happen. And then once you've got those facilities, you've got investment.
Sure.
Time, money, energy, staffing has been invested in these facilities, and to have them be empty is a waste of taxpayer time and money.
Absolutely.
So it's up to us as a school system to keep those places vibrant
Right.
and in touch with what's happening. I think what we're facing right now, as far as challenges, are things like COVID
Sure.
and what that's done to our interpersonal communication relationships. And I think one of the main things that will be a driving force for our programming moving forward is the arts as empathy. Arts are not only a teaching tool across the curriculum, which is something we've been doing for the last 10 years,
Yeah.
I think it's also a necessary tool for people to learn how others live, the life experience of others, being in that other person's shoes, walking that mile, learning the other person's experience. And because of the cloistered nature of COVID that we've been working through right now, where we're very insular, by ourselves, computer screen, we're having difficulty connecting to the world at a large. And I think we see it across the world right now. And in some small part, I'm hoping that we can improve the empathy that our students and that our community has for each other in
Sure.
our area.
Sure. COVID, I mean, that did had a huge impact on.
Suck the life out of the room.
Yeah. You can't come in. You can't. So, I mean, how did you, as the director of the PAC, how did you deal with kind of the stress that COVID put on the programs?
Well, I'm not sure that I did deal with the stress well, to be honest with you. The decisions that I make on a daily basis are about programming, are about philosophy, about finding that brighter future moving forward. Then in COVID, I found myself really making life and death decisions.
Sure.
As far as, are we open? Are we closed? What are the procedures? How do I keep everybody safe?
Right.
Taking temperatures, all of that stuff. That's, and, as like many people in our area, and most small business owners, even, I'm sure felt that same stress. This is not what we signed on for.
Right.
So, and I think at this point, a lot of us still are taking that stress. We still haven't, none of us have gotten a break yet. There's no end point, celebration, move on.
Right.
It's just kind of dully settled into our existence. And so I think there's a lingering stress that we all feel. And, going back to empathy, I think we have to constantly remind each other, first and foremost, just be kind.
Yeah.
We don't have to agree on everything. We won't. But we can listen. We can nod our heads, whether we agree or not.
Well, sure.
And, and find a way forward together. Because that's the only way we move forward, is together.
Right.
But COVID was stressful for everyone. And I think it was very much our responsibility as a Performing Arts Center to help people find an outlet and stress reliever.
Sure.
We were able surprisingly quickly to shift our focus from onstage, in-person performances to digital performances. We're very thankful with the Hardin County School System, and particularly HCEC TV,
Hmm.
that we were pretty well set up to make that transition. We started offering things on demand, old performances that we had shelved on DVDs, we were
Yeah.
able to offer on demand, and also able to do some things live on stage without an audience, but offering them on demand live.
Sure.
So, just trying to find that path forward as everyone was during that time.
Absolutely. So, what do you think is maybe next for? Maybe we can get a little peek at what's coming up. Of course, we've got some shows. We just had Julius Caesar, and I know there's other stuff coming up. But what is kind of the next kind of roadmap for the pack, for example?
Well, it's a lot of things. One of the things I determined as the PAC director when it came to COVID was that because everybody was spending money
Mm-hmm.
to fight this, to deal with it. And the school system had to do a lot of things. But then I had some autonomy as the PAC director to decide what needed to be done within our facility. And I had the grace of not having in-person audiences to determine those things. So I really made some decisions as far as how we were spending our time and our money to make changes that would last 5 years instead of 5 months.
Sure.
So we made a lot of changes. We did a lot of signage changes. And one of the big things was moving forward, we will continue to offer performing arts on multiple platforms,
Sure.
not just in person. So what we're facing right now are the same things that, again, a lot of small businesses are. Staffing. We're in desperate need of volunteers to help man all of these added things that we're doing.
Right.
And revenue is low, and there's some inability to get supplies in.
Sure.
So we're trying to rev up, and there's a little bit of spinning our wheels as we're trying to get some
Yeah.
friction, some traction,
Yeah.
to get things moving. So looking down the road, looking at the things that we had the time to study and learn over COVID, are making sure that as a facility, we are serving the entire community. We've through things like Breonna Taylor and Black Lives Matters and some of the LGBTQ revelations that happened throughout the course of the last couple of years, we want to make sure that we're serving our community as a whole, and determining how to do that without alienating anyone in that process.
Sure.
I think there are universal truths across all generations, all political aspirations, and across all color boundaries or sexual persuasion. We're all people. We're all human. And speaking to that inner core of what makes us who we are, whoever that is a big part of what we'll have going forward. You're going to be seeing a lot of our annual events coming back like we've always had, but you'll also be seeing some new events that maybe target a few of these things, and some of the choices that we make in our annual presentations may be tweaked to better reflect our community as a whole.
Sure. So I guess I'm going to ask the hard question. What's in the future roadmap for Bart as a person?
Well, I just got married. I got married. It's one of those things, like you were talking earlier, nothing's unscripted. We had to cancel the big musical that we do every fall. We had to cancel this year because of COVID.
Mhm.
We did a smaller show, Arsenic and Old Lace, instead, which left me a weekend opportunity to get married in September.
Hey, there
So
you go.
we production managed that into the schedule. And she and I right now are busily preparing for Beauty and the Beast, which will be the first fall musical following COVID.
Okay.
In this coming September. We've been working on that for about a year and a half now, and these shows do. Most of our seasons are planned at least a year in advance. Some of the bigger shows like this are like a year and a half in advance.
Sure.
We're doing a lot of puppetry with Beauty and the Beast.
Getting back into some of that.
It's
early.
all like I said, it's all psych. Like we did Disney's Little Mermaid about 5 years ago, and that's actually how Allison and I met. And we did a very puppetry bent on that production as
Sure.
well. And this will follow in those footsteps, building upon what we learned through that experience.
Absolutely.
And that'll be our big opener. And then we've got a few other things lined up, and we'll see the return of Missoula Children's Theater with Jungle Book. The Nutcracker will be back again. Kentucky Shakespeare will be returning next year with Hamlet. And I'm working with a national trade company called National Players out of Washington, D.C., to bring in their production of August Wilson's Fences. August Wilson has recently passed away during COVID, but black playwright has a cycle of plays dealing with the Black American experience over the past 50 years.
Sure.
In each of these plays, representing some of the things he's done at Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, some people may be familiar with, for example. So we're bringing them in to do that show, and a couple other things that are still in the works, not quite settled in yet.
Sure. We're going to kind of wrap up a little bit, but I want to give you an opportunity. I know you said that you're light on volunteers, and that's community wide.
Yeah,
We're seeing that everywhere. But I give you an opportunity to kind of make your plead for some volunteers. Maybe we can get some volunteers for you.
Well, I'll tell you this. We had a volunteer, Asian lady. I believe her name was Q. I don't think that was her full name, but everybody just called her Q. And she volunteered. She was Hardin County's volunteer. She was everywhere. And she was helping us as a volunteer usher. And she pulled me aside one day, and she said, I want to tell you, I volunteer everywhere. I'm at the hospital. I do the veterans. I volunteer everywhere. I want to be here.
Oh.
Because this is fun. And I love being with the kids, and you people are fun. And I volunteer everywhere, but this is where I like to come. Now, she may tell everybody that. I don't know. She's very sweet.
Sure.
Very sweet lady. But I do think it encapsulates. We've worked very hard to have a great environment for volunteers. It's a wonderful way for older volunteers to socialize.
Sure.
And to also be involved with younger generation people. And to help out in a way that is also rewarding to them, getting to see shows for free, meeting some of these young performers that are touring our nation, and those kind of experiences. And it's one of those things. Once we've hooked you, they stay with us. But we have seen a decrease in our volunteers because of COVID, as everyone has.
Sure.
And we could really use the help.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of fun, Bart, this was actually a lot of fun.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad.
We definitely going to
I didn't know what the heck I was supposed to talk about, but that's good.
Well, I mean, the name Unscripted, it goes perfect with what we're going for here. So, Bart, we're definitely going to have to have you back sometime in the future.
My pleasure.
If that's okay with you.
I got nothing but time.
Absolutely. Well, this is Unscripted with Bart Lovins today. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, we will have more interesting people and places.
Much more interesting than me.
No, Bart, you are a very interesting individual. But definitely stick around, and we will keep you kind of plugged into what's going on in your own backyard right here with Unplugged, or Unplugged, plugged in with Unscripted. There we go.